What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Grand Master Ogre, and today I'm bringing to you guys the spice of life. One of my favorite decks to play as of lately. It is the Shaddolls Magistus deck. This deck is extremely budget, not too expensive yet, it has potential to be pretty expensive in the future, but, I built this deck from scratch before the structured deck came out for the Shaddolls and everything like that. And I do like its style of play, which, it has a pseudo lockdown, like a little bit of combo. It's a deck I feel is, for everyone. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the sweet little deck profile, shall we? Alright, first things first, I'm going to start off with the monsters, of course. You know what it is. I got 3 Shaddolls Windies right here. So, basically, its effect is, if it's flip summoned, you get to special summon a Shaddolls monster from your deck in face up or face down defense position. And if it's sent from to the graveyard by a card effect, it does the same thing. So no matter what, if you use it for a fusion summon or you send it from the deck to the graveyard, you get to, special summon a Shaddolls monster from your deck. Or if it's flip face up from the face down defense position, it does the same thing, which is pretty strong. Alright, next up we got another 3 of, I think the second best card in the deck. I got Shaddolls Squamata. Alright, so this card is, when it's flip summon, when it's flip face up, you can target one monster on the field and destroy it. And if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can send one Shaddolls card from your deck to your graveyard. You can send your spell and trap cards if you want. For recursion, you can send a monster for to get their alternate search off or whatever. Like Hedgehog, you could go ahead and send Hedgehog if you want. Speaking of Hedgehog, I played 2 of Shadow the Hedgehog. Just kidding, Shadow Hedgehog. All right, really good card. Its effect reads: if you can add one Shaddolls spell or trap from your deck if you flip summon it to your hand, and if you flip it, if it's flip face up, if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can add one Shaddolls monster from your deck to your hand. So if it's flip summoned or flip face up, you get to add a spell or trap. If it's sent to the graveyard, you get to add a monster. You can only use each of these cards' effect once per turn, and once that turn, you only choose one, and you can only use one. Next, the 1-ofs for the Shaddolls side of things. I play 1 Shaddolls Beast, 1 Shaddolls Falco, 1 Shaddolls Ariel, and 1 Shaddolls Dragon. Alright, these are all the cards that, I feel is correct for this. Some people would play 2 Shaddolls Beasts. It's a pretty strong card, If it's flipped, you get to draw 2 cards and then discard 1 card. Or if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you get to draw 1 card. So, it's a body, it helps with your resource game and everything like that. Shaddolls Falco is kind of slow. If you flip it face up, you get to special summon a Shaddolls monster in face down defense position from your graveyard, which is pretty nice. Or if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon 1 Shaddolls Falco. Yeah. You can special summon... Oh, if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, then you get to special summon it in face down defense position. So you get to get that flip effect off if you need to. Whoops. So that's one thing that card is good for. This card right here is pretty strong. Shaddolls Ariel. You could flip it, target one of your banished Shaddolls monsters, and special summon it in face up or face down defense position, which you could special summon your construct with, which is really nice. Or, one of your other cards that you want to flip face up or whatnot to get their effects off, you can also do that. And if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, then you get to banish 3 cards in either graveyard, which is a really powerful, really good effect right there. Can hinder your opponent quite nicely with that effect. Especially if they rely on the graveyard, then, you know, GG. Also, we got Shaddolls Dragon. You can target 1 card your opponent controls or return it to the hand if it's flipped, you know. And if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target 1 spell or trap card on the field and destroy it. And, you know, that's really good for outing, you know, certain back rows and everything like that. You know, that one crucial thing that you need to get rid of. Like, I don't know, lose 1 turn, which is so stupid. Or, you know, if, let's say your opponent has, like, a card face down, like, Ice Dragon's Prison, you know, you could just pop that bad boy, avoid that mess altogether. Next is, for our, you know, non-Shaddoll monsters, I play 3 of one of the greatest cards that ever happened to this deck. Riliona, the Magistus of Ver. A very cute card right here. And when she's normal summon or special summon, you could add a Magistus spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is pretty nice because you want to search Magistus Invocation. We'll get to that card later. And also, you can return one of your banished level 4 or lower spellcaster monsters to your graveyard, which is really strong as well. Let me see. Then target 1 Magistus monster you control, equip it with a Magistus monster from your graveyard, except the level 4 monster. Which I'll explain that later. There's a card from your extra deck which you could use to help you, utilize that second effect right there as well. So I play 3 of those. Really strong card. Next, I play 3 Mathematicians. You know, you could link this card off with what's her name? Artemis, the Magistus Moon Maiden, which is really nice. The Magistus Moon Maiden is a great addition to the deck, and I can't wait to explain to you guys what that card is all about. But yeah, with Mathematician, you just normal summon it, send a monster from your deck to graveyard, get your Shaddolls effect off, you know, search for, whatever you need, you know, either a Shaddoll monster with Hedgehog, or you can send, what's her name? Shaddolls Windy with that effect, you know. Then you get to set a monster card face down defense position or face up defense position, whatever you need it for, which is also another strong play. Then I play 1 Performance Trick Clown, you know, for Shaddoll Fusion, send it to the graveyard, pay 1,000, you special summon it from your graveyard. That's Light Monster right there. So you get to Fusion summon again if you need to get that construct out, which is pretty strong. Alright, off to our spells and traps. I got 3 of the sweet Shaddoll Fusion. So basically, you get to use this card. You get to special summon a Shaddoll Fusion monster from your extra deck by using materials from your hand or field. But let's say you go second, your opponent controls a monster from the extra deck. Then you could use materials from your deck and send them to the graveyard directly, which is really strong, really powerful. Being able to use materials from your deck, that's like just free right there. So free, so powerful. And get your construct off, which is really nice, really strong. Next, I play 3 Shaddolls Fusions. Now, the thing I like about this is because this is a quick play, you get to fusion summon from your, by using monsters from your hand or field, but on your opponent's turn, which is really powerful. So you get to special summon a beast like Winda out, or Apcolone, which could negate a face-up monster, or face-up card on the field, and permanently negates it. So those are the 2 main targets you would want to go for with this card, which is really strong. If you have to, you could get El Shaddol Construct and, use that as a defense, because if a monster battles Shaddol Construct, then, nasty surprise awaits for them, which is pretty funny. Alright. Now for our magistus, the rest of our little magistus package right here for the spell cards. I play one Vitra and one Magistus Invocation. Magistus Invocation is basically another fusion spell card for the deck. Allows you to, fusion summon your shadow monsters if you need to. You could fusion summon for one of the Magistus fusion monsters is just as strong as well. And Vitra is good because if you can target one level 4 or lower Magistus monster in your graveyard, special summon it. If a Magistus card in your spell or trap zone would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. So it gives protection to some of your Magistus cards that once you get them in the spell or trap card zone, it has a little bit of protection, which is alright. So that's it for the spells, I believe. Wait, no, I think there's another. Yeah. One Foolish Burial. Send a card from deck to graveyard. One monster. Easy peasy. I got the nuts, the most powerful card I've seen in a long time, Super Poly. So basically, this is a card, the Shaddolls deck was the reason why Super Poly got banned long ago, because it's just so powerful. You can use your opponent's monsters as well. Your opponent cannot activate card effects in response to this card, all by paying just a card from your hand, and if you send a card to the graveyard with Shaddolls, then you can just continue plussing. So, I run 3 Super Polys in here. You can even use like their Dark Monster or their Light Monster for one of your Shadow cards if you need to, which is really strong. So you got plenty of targets, So that's the reason why I play 3 Super Polys. It just works so well for this deck. Such a blowout card. Next, off to our traps. I played 2 Shaddolls Reincarnations and 2 Shaddolls Schisms. Reincarnation is good because you get to target one of your Shadow monsters in your graveyard and special summon a face up or face down defense position, which is really nice. And you can banish this card to either change a face up card to face down defense position or a face down defense position card face up. And you could use that to extend on your plays, just banish it from your graveyard. It's really strong. I think it's a pretty good 2-of. It's not the best card, but it's still very powerful. And then next I got Shaddolls Schism, which is a really powerful card. This card allows you to fusion summon from your hand or field. Wait, is it hand or field? Fusion summon one Shaddolls fusion monster from your extra by banishing fusion materials listed from your field or graveyard. Okay, so you get to banish materials from your graveyard or from the field, but come on, let's be honest here. We'll be doing it from the graveyard because you're going to be throwing a lot of your Shaddolls monsters, a lot of different monsters into your graveyard. So it gives you a little bit more, grind game for sure because you're banishing cards from your graveyard. To fusion some powerful fusion monsters, which is really strong, especially Shaddolls. And you can special summon when on your opponent's turn. If you don't have the El Shaddolls fusion, then you can use Shaddolls Schism, and it works just as well. And let's see, yeah, can I attack? It cannot attack directly, which is a good effect. Then you can send to the graveyard one monster your opponent controls with the same attribute as that fusion summon monster. So, and then that's just a nice interruption on your opponent's turn, too, So if you summon a light monster, you banish a light monster. If you summon you send it to the graveyard. If you summon a dark monster, you send the dark monster they control to the graveyard, which is really nice. Non-targeting destruction, or sending, not even destruction, it's a send, so it's really powerful. Next, I played 2 Ice Dragon's Prison, the most powerful trap card in the world. No, I'm just kidding. It's a really powerful trap card, Target a monster that your opponent has in the graveyard, special summon it to your side of the field, and then banish the same type from each side of the respective player's field. So let's say they have a Dragoons, which is a spellcaster, and they have a Dark Magician in their graveyard. You special summon the Dark Magician, and then you banish both the Dark Magician and the Red Eyes Dragoon, which is a non-targeting. And as long as the Dragoon uses up as a negates, hey, you got removal right there. So Ice Dragon's Prison is like, I got this card when it was like $8. Now it's like $40 plus. I don't know. It's insane. Really strong card. I'm glad that I got it early when I did. Alright. And then the last trap cards in the 40 card main deck is Solemn Strike. 2 Solemn Strikes, pay 1,500 life points, negate a summon. Well, special summon or monster effect that is activated. Really powerful. Negate and destroy. What more do you need? What else do you have life points to pay it? Alright. Next, we're off to our extra deck. We got 3 El Shaddol constructs. Really powerful. Destroys a monster during the beginning of the battle phase with a special summon monster, which is really nice. Is it a special summon? Yeah, special summon monster. So, yeah, 3 of those. Next, I play 2 El Shaddol Windows, which is a really powerful card. It's a pretty nice floodgate. Neither players can special summon more than once per turn, which is pretty good. And the thing about the Shadow cards, if they're sent to the graveyard, then you get to recur a Shadow spell or trap card from your graveyard. So you could get Shadow Fusions back, or you could get Shadow Schisms. Whatever you need from your graveyard, you can add back, which is really good with those 2 cards. Same thing with this one, Shadow Up Clone. When this card is special summoned, you get to target a face-up card on the field and negate it, which is really strong, really powerful, especially against like floodgates or monster effects that are really pesky. Just negate it, and it's permanently negated as long as it stays face up on the field, which is pretty sick. Pretty sick, if I don't say. Alright, next we got Iwas, the Magistus Spell Spirit, which is really strong. This card is a new card that came out of the Genesis Impact set. This is for Magistus. What it reads is, when this card is an equip card, the equipped monster gains 1,000 attack and defense. During the main phase, quick effect, you can target one other face-up monster on the field and equip this card you control to it. If this card was equipped to an opponent's monster by this effect, take control of that equipped monster. Also, it cannot activate its effects. You can only use this effect of Magistus once per turn. So, you could take your opponent's monster, equip it. It gains 1,000 attack, and you can use it to attack. You just can't use the effects that it has, which is still really good. You can still link off with it. Get rid of those problematic cards that your opponent may or may not have. And just, wreck their shit. Pardon my French. Even though I know it sounds like shit. Anyways, next are Super Poly targets. Some more of them, just in case. Magical Mud Dragon of the Swamp, and also, Starving Venom Fusion Dragons. 2 really powerful cards right here, especially for Super Poly. So, if you don't know what they do, and it's just sad, fam. Just this video is taking a little bit longer than I wanted it to, so I'm just speeding up a little bit through it. Alright, next we got Artemis, the Magistus Moon Maiden. And she's a Link 1, she's a light target for your construct. So, you need a light monster for construct to go off. And, yeah, it's a really strong card. You can bring it back with its own effect and everything like that. And you can special summon, just lots of good things. Gravity Controller, which has a really good effect. You special summon it by using a construct that you would special summon into the extra monster zone. And then if it battles another extra monster zone monster, then you can bounce this and the other monster back to their respective decks, which is really nice. Well, back to the hand, which is the extra deck, which is pretty good. Cross Sheep for our fusion monsters, really powerful. You get to special summon level 4 monster back from the graveyard. Shadow Construct, which is, it's a really good card, whenever it comes up, like anytime I do summon it, I'm very glad that I do. It's a really strong card. Next, we're gonna go for our Selene, which, the combo is, to special summon Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep, you fusion summon to a zone it points to, then you special summon a monster from the graveyard, that you link into Celine, the queen of the master of magicians. You count spell cards in your opponent's card and graveyard and field, and your own graveyard and field. It gains counters. You remove 3. You special summon the spellcaster from the graveyard, and then you go into your big boss monster right here. This beast, this savage beast right here, Access Code Talker, which is a really strong boss monster. You can hit up to 5,300 attack. Destroy monsters according to how many link monsters you have in your graveyard with different attributes. Your opponent cannot, respond to him at all. He's just a monster of a card, I'm glad that I was able to pull this beauty right here, this Access Code Talker. Anyways, enough showing off with my cards and everything like that, Thank you very much for tuning into Grandmaster Ogre's deck profile. I hope you learned a lot. Use this guy as a guide to wherever you want to build, wherever, tickles your fancy for, your deck building of your Shaddolls. Some people like to mix Dogmaticas. I can't afford Dogmaticas with my Shaddolls. I can't afford Invocation. That's still like, $22, $23. And, thanks but no thanks. I'll play it as is. It's still very powerful, very strong deck if it catches your opponents off guard, and it has a really strong grind game. One of my favorite decks by far. Anyways, thanks for listening to me ramble on about my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I will see you next time. Peace.